Alright, now we can move on to this equation. So we'll start a new one. We'll simplify this one. So we see that we have cosecant 2y. And cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So we're going to use the sine double angle identity, but we're going to use the reciprocal of it. So with this fraction, okay, we get 1 over, and here's the sine identity, but it's in the denominator because we're doing cosecant of 2y. Alright, and then we can substitute, so sine y was 5 over 13. Cosine y is 12 over 13. So we'll bring those down here. 1 over, and we're going to make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. One over 2 times 5 over 13 and 12 over 13. Alright, so we can multiply these together. Still have 1 in the numerator. 1 over, multiplying these together, 5 times 12 is 60, times 2 is 120, over 13 times 13 is 169. Alright, and then we have a fraction in this denominator, and once again, like we did up here, we can multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. Well, the numerator is just 1, so that's going to come out as a reciprocal of the denominator, just that. So it's going to equal 169 over 120. Alright, now we can move on to this next equation. So it's tangent of x over 2. So let's come back up and see the half angle identity for tangent is the square root of 1 minus cosine x divided by 1 plus cosine x. So we'll write that down here and then we'll insert the correct values for cosine x. So actually we need a square root first. Square root of 1, just double checking to make sure it's 1 plus cosine x. Nope, it's 1 minus cosine x. Because if you think about it, 1 minus cosine x is related to the half angle identity for sine, and it's going to be sine over cosine is tangent, and 1 plus cosine x is related to the cosine identity. So that's the easy way to remember that. Alright, and then we know that cosine of x, we have it written up here, cosine x is 3 over 5. So we're going to come down, get our square root. It's going to be fraction 1 minus, I'm going to make this larger again so it's easier to see. Three over 5, and 1 plus 3 over 5. Alright, and we can make those ones 5 over 5 and then do the division. Alright, so 5 minus 3 is 2, so this becomes 2 over 5. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. So the denominator is 8 over 5. And once again, we have a fraction in the denominator, so we can multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. That's going to be still inside of a square root. 2 over 5 times 8 over 5. Or, excuse me, we need the reciprocal. So it's going to be 5 over 8. Alright, and that, the 5's cancel out. This you can reduce to 1, and this 8 you reduce to 4. So that becomes the square root of 1 over 4. Which equals 1/2. Alright, and we know it's positive because tangent, sine, and x, they're all positive. So this is, if this is all in the first quadrant, dividing into half, it's still going to be in the first quadrant. So we don't have to worry about positive or negative there. Alright, now we can move on to sine y over 2. Alright, so we'll look back at that sine identity. See, there's that 1 minus cosine x, and this is over 2, and it's a square root. So we'll go ahead and write that down here. Square root 1 minus cosine x over 2. We're going to make these larger. Then cosine x equals 3 over 5. Oh, excuse me, this is y, not x. Cosine y is 12 over 13. So 1 minus 12 over 13 over 2. And we can make this one 13 over 13. The square root. So 13 over 13 minus 12 over 13 comes out to 1 over 13 over 2. And then we multiply. We have a fraction in the numerator and then a denominator. So we'll multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of that denominator. So we got 1 over 13 times the reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. So 1 over 2. That equals the square root 1 over 26. Alright, and we'll leave it there. Now we're going to move on to this sine x plus y, and this gives us chance to use our sum and difference formulas.